Lorgar Aurelian is the most mocked, hated, and pathetic primarch in 40K. But everyone is ignoring one massive, uncomfortable truth. He was right. Big E spent his whole life trying to violently eradicate religion from the galaxy. So how did the 41st millennium devolve into a rabidly zealous society that worships him as a god? The answer lies entirely with the son he so brutally rejected. Long before the heresy, Lorgar saw the Emperor for what he truly was, a god. He even created a religion around it. In return, Big E publicly humiliated him and burned Monarchia, their perfect city, to the ground. He basically punished his son for being too religious. But the ultimate irony of the 41st millennium was that Lorgar was right. He wasn't a fool. He was a prophet ahead of his time who understood humanity's desperate need for faith. Today, trillions of humans worship the Emperor as a living god, all following the exact religion written by the son he broke. Lorgar knew that to survive the nightmare of the grim dark, humanity needed a god to unite them. Lorgar knew the Emperor was lying through his teeth about his own godhood, and most importantly, Lorgar knew exactly what it would take to keep his legion from shattering in the chaotic aftermath of the Horus Heresy. But to truly understand how Lorgar was the victor, we have to dive into his psychological foundation. Unlike his warrior brothers who were built to conquer and destroy, the Primarch Lorgar was inherently driven to be a religious simp. Born with a pathetic, desperate need to get on his knees and worship something, he landed on the sandy planet of Kulkus. There, he willingly let a twisted, abusive priest named khorne beat the shit out of him every day. Now, keep in mind, Lorgar was a god-tier psychic who could have popped the old bastard's head with one thought. But he craved the suffocating boot of religious authority so badly, he just took the abuse. Honestly, though, he was probably just a kinky freak. Eventually, after hallucinating some visions of a giant golden one, Lorgar dropped the act. He grew a pair of balls and drowned the planet in a brutal 6-year holy war. He ended up conquering the planet, completely replacing its old religion with the worship of this new prophesied god. When the Emperor finally arrived, Lorgar instantly recognized him as his god, pledging absolute loyalty and dedicating his life to spreading the Emperor's faith across the galaxy. During the Great Crusade, Lorgar and his word-bearers dragged ass across the stars. Why? Because instead of purging Xenos like a good little legion, Lorgar was too busy playing Bob the Builder, building mega-churches to simp for the Emperor. He even wrote a literal Bible to canonize Big E as a god and preach to anybody that would listen. This pissed the Emperor off, not just because Lorgar's conquest numbers were embarrassing, but because Big E's entire grand design for the Imperium was atheism with zero tolerance for magic sky daddies and superstition, which was the complete opposite of what Lorgar was doing. So, to teach his kid a lesson, the Emperor parented the only way he knew how, by being a dick. He ordered the Ultramarines to roll up to Lorgar's perfect city of Monarchia and blow it up. To rub salt to the wound, Big E teleported down to the ash heap and publicly roasted Lorgar as a pathetic failure. Psychologically broken by the space Jesus he devoted his life to, Lorgar retreated into isolation. The Emperor, in his infinite wisdom, thought he was just smacking down a disobedient brat. He didn't realize that nuking Monarchia wouldn't cure Lorgar's addiction to worship. It just left a gaping, god-sized void. khorne and Erebus immediately capitalized on this void. They swooped right in on the emotionally wrecked Primarch and introduced him to the Chaos Gods. Because unlike Big E, these warp-dwelling nightmares loved getting their egos stroked. Ultimately, the Emperor's great parenting skills radicalized Lorgar into the galaxy's premier terrorist. He traded in his golden-armored deadbeat dad for a quartet of horns, tits, tentacles, and literal rotting shit. Perhaps the most compelling evidence that Lorgar ultimately won the Long War is the complete collapse of the imperial truth. The Emperor's grand vision of a galaxy united by cold, hard atheist logic was bullshit from day one. Lorgar was the only one with enough common sense to realize that in a relentlessly grim universe, actively trying to kill or torture you at every turn, humanity needed a god just to keep themselves from blowing their own brains out. As a result, long before he started sucking off the Chaos Gods, Lorgar wrote the Lectitio Divinitatus. It was basically the ultimate Bible, declaring his dad a literal god. Although the emperor banned the text, its ideas took root and spread in the shadows. Then the Horus Heresy began. The veil of reality was ripped open, and literal warp demons started eating people for fun. Suddenly, the emperor's only use science policy was completely fucking useless. You can't debate a bloodthirster with the scientific method. With zero comfort and zero answers against supernatural horrors, ordinary humans turned to Lorgar's banned book. Faith became their bulletproof vest. It gave billions of poor, disposable bastards just enough shared delusion to believe the emperor was holding their hand right up until they were ground into corpse starch on the front lines. After Big E got his ass beat and was strapped to the Golden Throne, the galaxy plunged into an even deeper hellscape. Fueled by the pants-shitting trauma of it all, Lorgar's underground cult exploded even more. Terra's rulers eventually officially rubber-stamped it and birthed the Ecclesiarchy, the rabid, fanatical death cult that dominates the 41st millennium today. The second argument rests on irony. The emperor's fierce denial of his own godhood was ultimately proven false. Once again, the emperor was wrong and Lorgar was right. In the 40K universe, belief isn't just a warm, fuzzy feeling. It's a tangible, reality-warping weapon. The warp is basically a parallel psychic dimension where emotion can manifest in real life. So, what happens when you have trillions of humans aggressively praying to the same rotting corpse for 10 millennia? Well, reality snaps. The Emperor isn't just a supremely powerful human anymore. The sheer weight of humanity's devotion has forced his ascension into an actual god. He has become exactly what he punished Lorgar for believing he was. You want proof? Just look at how this divine bullshit physically appears across the galaxy today. The Sisters of Battle, despite lacking any genetic psychic mutations, can heal fatal wounds, conjure holy fire, and repel demons through the sheer force of their faith. Similarly, living saints like Celestine operate functionally as imperial demons. They are souls created by the Emperor's power, summoned from the warp to fight, and dissolved back into the immaterium when their work is done. And honestly, we should have seen this coming. Biggie's godhood was already peaking during the Horus Heresy. In his final apocalyptic fight with Horus, the Emperor was about 5 seconds away from leveling up into the Dark King, an entirely new, fifth fucking chaos god. The irony of it all is absolute. The Imperium now spends every waking second aggressively worshipping the Emperor, which is the one fucking thing the old man spent his whole life trying to prevent. Lorgar, the one person who could tell his dad, "I told you so." In the end, he was right. Here's the final reason Lorgar actually won. His legion didn't devolve into a total clusterfuck. After the heresy failed and the traitors ran into the Eye of Terror, the other legions immediately started killing each other like crackheads. But not the word bearers. 10,000 years later, they're still a highly organized, functioning war machine. How? Well, Lorgar swapped their military ranks for a religious cult. Turns out, the madness of chaos won't shatter your army if everybody in it believes he's executing the literal, holy will of the gods. By every measurable metric, the word-bearers are undeniably the most successful traitor legion. Ruled by absolute shitbags like Erebus from their demon world of Sicarus, they built a working theocracy. For 10,000 years, they've been curb-stomping loyalist chapters and carrying the long war. They lost the heresy, but still came out on top. They're out here getting shit done, while Big E is just a rotting corpse stuck on a golden toilet. In the end, the Emperor tried to build a secular civilization, but Lorgar understood that in a universe ruled by supernatural forces, religion isn't superstition, it's mandatory armor. Ignoring the warp leaves humanity defenseless, and the universe ultimately proved Lorgar right. And more importantly, it proved Big E was wrong. Ultimately, Lorgar is the only person in 40K who truly got what he wanted. 10,000 years later, the galaxy isn't fighting over whether he was right. It has simply forgotten there was ever another option. Now you know what else Lorgar was right about? He knew what an asshole Roboute Guilliman was. Click here to watch a video about how much Roboute Guilliman sucked.